Hey everyone, it's Matthew Ray Scott, and I'm here with my colleague, Eric Anderson. Great to be here with you, Eric.
Hey, Matthew, thanks again for having me. This is going to be awesome. This will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're going to dive into this topic of sales enablement, something that you and I have been working with some top companies in our space of medtech. And to start off with, how would you unpack or define sales enablement in a way that someone listening to us might not have the misconception of, well, sales enablement is simply another word for sales support?
Well, the answer to your question is going to be one that was very different about 5 years ago. And that's how dramatically our world is changing in sales. And sales enablement 1.0, the original sales enablement was all about, hey, let's teach you prospecting and follow up and how you're going to gauge and measure that follow up and, closing. You know the drill. Everybody understands sales enablement 1.0. It's completely different for sales enablement 2.0 these days. It's a completely different tactical approach. All the same tenets are the same, all the same as far as, obviously the end goal is to create a customer and have a relationship. But now sales enablement 2.0 is social media, brand awareness, brand building, opportunity to do things virtually and in person, and join all of those together. So it's not what it was 5 years ago by any means, but where we're going is going to allow you to vie for attention at scale. And that's what we want to talk about today, along with other things, obviously.
Yeah, you and I come from the medtech world. Why don't you start off and then I'll contribute? Do you think that sales enablement is widely implemented in our world of medtech? And if not, what's the number one reason why it's not or why it should be?
So to answer is it implemented widely in our industry? Absolutely not. We still have the same mantra that we talk about all the time where it's hashtag hustle, more calls. You just got your new quota this year. You've been to your national sales meeting. Okay, you got to grow 20% or die. You're going to have to make 10 more calls on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. You're going to have to be able to convert that to that's what it's been since the 1960s and 70s in sales and 80s in medical sales. So what's happening now is in my opinion is the world is there's so much more noise for your ideal customer, physician, surgeon, that trying to vie for attention and time with that individual is becoming almost impossible because they have so much that they have to do on a daily basis. And as we say over and over and over again, the sales process is the same. You want to gain a customer at the end of it, but you're going to have to learn how to get to this. That's where everybody does what they do. Get to this. And I don't think anybody has a plan for doing that. They're telling their sales force to make sure that you show them the new product. We're going to give you this cool new marketing piece, and what you need to do is drop it by their office and ask for, come on, it just doesn't work anymore. So I could go into hours about that, but it's completely changing, and there are a few, and we're working with them. We're working with a few med tech companies that understand this, realize this, and they want to figure out how they're going to pivot and what they need to do in the future in order to be at the forefront or be market leaders.
Yeah, so 4 years ago, you and I introduced the concept of using this to earn attention with distracted, disengaged physicians. And it worked really, really well. And so we began to train people on how to use personalized video as a virtual and time shifted trust trigger. And then in just last year, you and I began to see how graduates of Virtual Sales RX course were not only increasing engagement, but you and I saw the needed shift corporately. So not just about the front lines of, a frontline sales rep, increasing engagement and scaling sales, but corporately, a shift that needed to take place from product selling to problem solving centric selling. And we began to think through what is not a new word, but rather a new word in our particular industry of medtech, which is sales enablement. Traditionally, larger medtech companies operate in distinct silos: sales and marketing. And marketing's responsibility in traditional medtech is product marketing. And sales is to expect marketing to give them leads, give them support material. And what we're submitting is that needs to change. That surgeons, because we're in a commodity market, no longer primarily emphasize just the product. Rather, how is this different? Tell me this in as few words as possible so I burn as few calories as possible to understand how you're different from everybody else. What problem is this going to solve interoperatively, intrinsic, extrinsic in my life, and what's the impact of that? So when we are meeting with corporations or frankly even progressive distributorships, up and coming early stage launch companies, we let them know that sales enablement is a cross function of sales, marketing, branding, biz dev done in a highly profitable and proficient way, because we teach them how to become virtual at time shifted. And Eric, as you know, we've had two recent situations where we've been brought in by corporations, and the number one comment that we hear is, wow, I thought you guys were going to teach us how to use our phone to send personalized videos. Instead, you guys are teaching us how to frame attention and earn attention in 30 seconds, 60 seconds in a way that not only multiplies our sales efforts on the front line, but helps us to control the narrative. So I think that's one of the things that I noticed. What about you, Eric? When you're thinking through sales enablement, is there a particular topic that you think is, important right now that we discuss before we continue?
Yeah, I do, and it's really, you hit upon it when you were just talking about, and we're dealing, and we'll at some point we'll talk about the extremely large organization that we're going to be training. That everybody knows their name, and we'll at some point in time let everybody knows who that is. But we're also dealing with startups, and a startup that we had their COO make a comment that what's wonderful is you guys are teaching us how to vie for attention at scale. And that's really the mantra that I believe people are going to need to learn. And you can't vie for attention at scale by putting more feet on the street, in my opinion. Yeah, can you get them to point B of the sales cycle with, in the point where they're going to be utilizing your product? I guess that's more like point Z. But you're the upfront framing who you are as an organization, what you are doing, what your mantra is, what your market positioning is. All of those things are something that tactically, when we are talking to these different organizations about sales enablement, they don't realize that's exactly what we're trying to achieve. And tactically, yes, we can talk about those things, but that's what we're doing. We're coaching the tactical pieces of the puzzle, and it works because we know it works, and it has worked for years. So I think it's really, when we start boiling down what we're doing, we're not teaching you how to use your phone like you said. We're teaching you how to vie for attention at scale with valuable information and things that your prospective customer needs.
Yeah, along the lines of what you're speaking of, Eric, one of the things that has been a pleasant surprise is how executives have come to the conclusion that we're not presenting some artsy fartsy creative solution like, hey, grab your phones, you know, grab a circle light, and we're going to start creating videos. They realize that this is neuroscience, psychology, and data analytics at its finest. I mean, if you think through the data analytics, I was sharing this just yesterday with a big company that, again, is a premier orthopedic player named to be displayed later. And one of the questions that they asked me was data analytics. And I shared with them that when you incorporate sales enablement like we teach, it is not only data analytics, but it's intelligence. And what I mean by that is every single personalized video has engagement percentage, has that you sent it to so and so, they opened it up at 11:01 a.m. They shared it to two people in Scranton, Pennsylvania at 11:48. They came back 2 days later and they watched 100% of that engagement and they shared it to four other people. And then the data analytics of how we're teaching people this integration of psychological profiling and psychographic profiling through an inexpensive software that we use, so that it's so hyper personalized that not only do we know the obvious background of somebody that we're speaking to, but we have data on how they make decisions, how they prefer to receive ideas and information. And then we have these digital rooms, which has changed the concept and solved the problem of we go back and forth, email, text, etc., with clients. We have solved the problem of creating a 24/7 access room where every vital source of ideas, information pertaining to that client go into a digital room that can provide secure information, password driven security. But the second that someone enters our digital room, we get pinged. Eric has logged into the digital room. And so from that standpoint, we are leading with data analytics that create an ROI, which is both qualitative and quantitative. And I think that's really, really changed the bar for sure. And so, Eric, here's my next question for you. When you think through the adoption rate of digital communications, and in particular, we can talk about, medtech sales, since we come from that background. What do you think the adoption rate is of sales and marketers adopting digital communications like the ones that we're teaching? What would you say is the adoption rate? And if it's low, what do you think is going to be the barrier or the crisis of belief that causes somebody to go, I'm running out of daylight, I got to do something different?
The answer to that question has changed dramatically in the last 12 months for me. The number is still, in my opinion, horrifically low. I don't think that people have embraced digital interaction. I don't think that the vast majority have not. But at this point in time, it is the organizations are realizing that they are going to need to gain attention at scale, like we've been talking about. And the ones that are realizing this seem to be more, they and I don't want to frame anybody as a commodity item or a physician preference item. I don't want to frame it that way, but they realize there's so much noise in the space. Their margins are reducing because that's what happens in every mature market. That happens. And they have to find new ways in order to connect with their prospective customers. And what's happening is in the last 12 months, what I've seen is I've seen so many people, the light has gone on for them and they say, okay, I need to be able to connect with these customers on this level this many times. And we all, everybody's seen every single study about, well, 7 to 11 times touches before somebody, either sets an appointment, buys from you, and it all depends on whatever the product may be. But the reality is it's 7 to 11 touches, 7 to 11 right in there. So, and I'm going to say I don't, there hasn't been any new studies lately about it, but I would say that it's probably going to be much more than that now, because how many people are distracted by going, well, let me see what's on this thing right here. And I'm going to have to, that type of thing that's happening all the time now. So back to the original question. The number is very, very low. I think it's just because we're just going to do it the way we've always done it. We have high margin products. We're going to be able to, and this is me talking like a sales or marketing individual or executive, this is the way we've always done it, and there really is no reason for us to change. I think it changes when all of a sudden numbers come out after a quarter and they realize, hey, we're not growing like we want to. What can we do differently? And the ones that are the word progressive or understand that there are other methods out there, those are the ones that we are seeing more and more come to us and say, okay, how do we change our mindset? Not change what we're doing, but change our mindset and incorporate with what we're doing in order to facilitate where we want to go. And that's when they come to us and they ask, how do we do this? And for us, Sales Enablement 2.0, that's what we do.
Do you think it would be helpful if I unpacked the neuroscience, psychology, and admin and logistics of what we're teaching? Or do you think that I have beaten that horse down too many times in the past? What's your thought?
I think you need to beat the horse down 5 times a day. So in order for people to understand, so please do, because I think this is, if you haven't heard this before, you may be living under a rock, or this is the first time you're listening to us talk. You definitely need to pay attention at this point in time, because this is really what this is all about. So yeah, please, Matthew, please go ahead.
So we have all received information. We know what that looks like, feels like when it's text-based and perhaps even video-based. There's a reason why video is the fastest growing communication medium. There's a reason why we no longer go to Google and type in how to fix my refrigerator. We go to YouTube, we type it in. There's a reason why we go to ChatGPT to find out specific solutions rather than go to Google. So everything is changing to, how do I decrease the time it takes for me to get an answer and to understand? So on the receiving end, whenever you see a video, interchange the word video for trust trigger. So see if you're watching us right now, see if you buy this premise or run this through the full of crap filter. Have your defensive antennas up really, really high right now. So here's what's happening. You're listening to us and you're saying, I'll be the judge of that to see if this applies to me. I'll see if what these guys are sharing are different, solve a problem, and what I perceive as the impact of solving that problem. So right now, we're on something called asynchronous on-demand virtually live. It means that you could watch this from anywhere at any time. But here's what's going on in that beautiful brain of yours. You're making determinations through our tonality, through, are we sharing generously? Are we perceived as, salesy? Your brain is triangulating what you think about us. And if we did our job correctly and we're adding value, you're going to talk to Eric and I, or you're going to talk to somebody on our virtual sales or X team. And when you do, and we meet for a 15-minute chat on Zoom, your brain is going to go through a correlation technique that goes, he's exactly who I thought he would be. or, I don't even know who this person is. So what we're doing through video is we're decreasing the time that it takes to earn know, like, and trust. Now, here's where it gets interesting in sales and marketing language. All things being equal, your competition stuck in traffic outside of Atlanta, outside the beltway of DC, driving to gain physical access in front of a client. Not us. We learn how to earn attention at scale so that the front line of engagement educates and shares hyper personalized ideas of how this may be a fit for them, the impact that it's had on other people just like them. So what we're doing is we're virtually at scale front loading the democratization of knowledge, the education part, so that they're more likely to say, yeah, let's meet. And if you're watching me right now, when they say, induced from those videos, let's meet, there is no more of that old school, hey, what's your name again? It's Eric. Hey, Eric, remind me what we're doing here today. There's none of that. You accomplish that from anywhere at any time on demand, and they come ready to discuss business. And that's what I love about this approach that we're teaching. And with sales enablement, we just took what we learned in training thousands of frontline salespeople, and now we're taking it to the corporation. And we're saying, you have a special forces A team that can speak multiple languages, that are a disruptive 6 or 7 people that understand branding, understand marketing, understand sales. They are an A team. They are a multiplier to do things that your big silo of sales and marketing are not currently doing, or they can do it to complement those existing resources. So, Eric, did I miss anything?
No, that was wonderful. And again, I'll paint the picture for what Matthew is describing. You as a salesperson, and just so everybody knows, Virtual Sales RX, if you go to the website, you as an individual can still go out and get the Virtual Sales RX training yourself as an individual. But what Matthew is illustrating, and just think about this, if you remember the time when you would make an appointment and bring lunch, and you come into the office and you sit down at the desk at the table, and you're all excited that you're ready to display exactly what you can do for the customer and how this is going to change their lives. And they walk in and they go, which one is the turkey sandwich? And you get the turkey sandwich, and they don't pay attention to you and they don't care. Guess what? They're there for the food. They're not there for you. And so what Matthew is so eloquently illustrated with, once you be able to use personalized video and digital communication, you create know, like, and trust that enables you to sift through all of that. Hey, give me a free sandwich so I can sit here and pretend I want to hear what you have to say. So you're not only saving yourself time, you're saving your prospective customer time, because if they want a sandwich, they can go get it on their own. They can go do what they need to do, and they have time to do it. If they really truly want to understand what you have and want to learn more about your products and you've done that through digital communication. And when you have that appointment, exactly like Matthew said, you're ready to talk about what you can do for them. And that's changed dramatically, because 5 years ago, we would inundate them with crazy emails, dropping off literature. I hope I get to do a lunch with you, and the world famous stalk everybody at the trade show move, which I talked about earlier this week, and I watched it firsthand last week. Those methods don't work anymore. I know the companies think they do because they set up the booth at the trade show, but that's a whole other story. We can go into that. But these methods are not working anymore. You're going to have to find different ways to do this. So thank you for framing it, Matthew, the way you did.
Customer experience is the new battleground, for sure. And it might be interesting to note for those of you who are med tech sales and marketers, what you may not know is we learned that there are some modern sales and marketers in med tech. And then there are a large percentage that are holding on to the keeper of the flag, control access to my doctor, face to face. That's it. What people might be interested in learning is we decided, because we were getting such tremendous response from physicians saying, why aren't more med tech people utilizing what you're teaching? We created a course, Physician Video RX. So if you're listening to us, we are training the very doctors that are asking us, why are not more people adopting what you're teaching? And so that to us was an aha moment. So we're now teaching physicians within their circle of influence how to earn attention with more ideal patients, how to receive more patient and physician referrals, how to show up on the radar screen of media, how to develop virtual peer-to-peer engagement unlike anything they've ever done. So if you're on the fence post, just know we're busy training the very people that you're trying to connect with. All right, Eric, you're up. What should we talk about next? Because every time you and I get on here, I've got so many different topics that I want to learn from you from. But what are you thinking we should discuss next?
Well, I think we should talk about, and we're going to share a lot of these testimonials and videos. When you go out to Virtual Sales RX, you'll be able to see these, and also if you follow us on social media, you're going to see a lot of these testimonials come out. But you had the opportunity, Matthew, to talk to some of our previous students and some leaders, some organizational leaders that have gone through our course and are implementing what we teach. What are you hearing from them? What are the things that they're saying to you? And maybe there are things that you thought you never would hear. And the good, the bad, the ugly. Please, what are you hearing from them?
Yeah, let's start off with, as Eric mentioned, just to frame this, these are people that have gone through our $97 a month virtual sales RX course. It's the course that never ends. We just keep updating it, providing best practices, everything that we're testing, and we're utilizing it ourselves. I promise you that if you were on Eric and I's text thread this morning, we're sharing ideas. Hey, here's what so-and-so had to say, etc. And so we're sharing these best practices real time. We just happen to be with the Virtual Sales RX team. We just happen to be culminating all these and sharing those with you so that we're not holding on to that. But let's start off with the negative. The negative that I hear from people who adopt our approach is there's pressure corporately to just fit in and not stand out. There is still pressure of, what are you doing? Are you sitting at home in your pajamas creating videos? Get out and work for a living like the rest of us. There is still this misconception of, if you're creating personalized videos, that you're goofing off at home and you have more in common with trying to be a YouTube influencer. And so if one of those students were talking right now to us and I asked them, how would you respond to that? They would tell you, compared to what? Compared to being stuck in traffic. Compared to what? To driving across multiple state lines, hoping to bump into the doctor. Compared to what? Providing voicemails which will never get returned. When's the last time you returned a voicemail outside of your mom? Compared to what? And so I would still say that there is this misconception of, you're spending all your time. And I don't think people realize that for you and I, who adopted this in our own businesses who teach this, we spend less than 15, 20 minutes a day doing this. You see, our approach would not work for anyone if the idea was you sit in front of your computer and you make videos all day. And, you know, I have shared this with so many people that, and I will shamelessly show you my typical schedule. I'm book solid. And the reason why I'm book solid is my non negotiable 6 days a week is I send 7 personalized videos. Get this, half of them are evergreen. I was Skinny Matthew a year ago. You know, I recorded it. It's an evergreen source of knowledge. It's valuable. The only thing that I don't say is the person's first name, but it's relevant information, etc. So I spend less than 15, 20 minutes a day utilizing these personalized videos. And it turns out if you send, in my case, 7 to 7 different prospects before 7:01 a.m., you're going to be book solid. And so I feel like on the one hand, people view this as highly creative. And Eric, whenever you and I have an opportunity to lecture for companies and stuff like that, they walk away going, this is blue collar, practical, bring your lunch pail to work stuff. I mean, this is super, super practical. And that's why I don't struggle. I just don't struggle with having appointments because I'm utilizing virtual communications as a trust trigger to earn. I feel like I know this person. Oh, I like what he had to say. Oh, I trust that there's something in those ideas that one shared for me. Yeah, I'll schedule 15 minutes. That's a short enough time that it's not going to melt my cerebellum off. So that's how I process that. And Eric, I think what our students would also sell or tell us is it debunks the myth of the hard sell in medtech. Are you with me on that? It debunks that stock them at the scrub sink, try to get past Gloria the gatekeeper. How would you respond to that, Eric?
100%. Yeah, it's funny you were talking about how executive management teams look at individuals who put out videos and they're under the assumption that you're all day making videos. If you really boil that down, so you're saying that I caught your attention? So you're saying that I was able to draw you into what I was saying because you see me all the time doing this? Does that equate, guys, when you guys hear that? Do you see what has happened? That's what they're doing for surgeons or physicians and their ideal markets or target market. They are gaining attention, gaining know, like, and trust, and they're doing it. And I know Matthew said it's 15 to 20 minutes a day. Like he said, evergreen videos. I make evergreen videos, and I literally it takes me 4.4 seconds to hit 3 of the buttons and send it. And if you're thinking that I'm making videos all day and I'm resonating, you're visually seeing something and you're saying to yourself, I need to talk to them about that because I think they're sitting around doing nothing all day. Well, guess what? I've caught your attention, and that's the whole goal of this. And so if you now think and shift your mindset to, wow, this can be a tool where my sales organization can gain attention or vie for attention at scale, and they're going to have people, and not that, every time is not about trying to sell something. Every time is about providing value. And that's where this is why digital communication is so effective. If you can provide value to someone and they say to themselves, you know what, I have a patient coming up, and they remember the 41 times that they saw you over the last 90 days or, whatever the number is. And of course, you don't want to inundate somebody 41 times. But if that kind of top of mind, and if you read anything about marketing, they all talk about top of mind. That's what it is. You're top of mind, and you're going to be the one that they say, hey, let me schedule 15 minutes with. Or you know what, I really want them to bring that by the office. I need to look at that if I'm going to use this for my next patient or whatever that may be. So I can tell you, you hit the nail on the head, Matthew, in the respect that once you have the opportunity to vie for attention at scale, and you have your prospective customers say to themselves, wow, because I can tell you, I'm going to give you a story that happened to me last week. I have multiple stories of people who came up to me, walked up to me and said, hey, and we had a conversation. They felt like they knew me and they could have a conversation with me. They know me from LinkedIn. They know me from a video that I made 7 months ago, and I've had it go out to the masses 4 or 5 different times. That's how they knew me. I wasn't where
Yeah,
I was.
I love that you earned know, like, and trust. And so, Eric, so for anybody that can see this, this is my Vidyard video library. These are real videos. There's a dude named Trevor right now, who is chuckling right now because this is the video that I sent to him. And I can tell you, Eric, that I have people that come up to me at airports and they ask me, hey, Matthew, I've seen you talk about the videos that you record. Can I look at that? So if you want to know what proficiency looks like, it's not us wearing pajamas creating videos at home. It's on the go. It's everywhere we are. You can do the same thing, solving problems, sharing unique perspective and point of view, adding value in such a way that these same videos, which you see right here, all of these that we're doing with clients, that we're virtual and time shifted. It's a much more productive and proficient way to go through business, and so I hope you think about that. So, Eric, I've got a closing question that we can both answer. It's kind of a trick one. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
What would you say that we're doing our teaching besides the obvious of teaching people how to become, digital and time shifted with personalized video? How would you say that we're creating something that is so much more valuable than just pressing record on a video? How do you think about that?
Well, I've said it several times when we've been talking, provide value, provide value, provide value. What we are doing at scale is becoming an information access point for your prospective customers. Now, you say to yourself, how am I going to be, Matthew said it earlier, and that's why I smiled from ear to ear. No longer do people Google, how do I declog my my dryer vent? They don't Google it. They YouTube it. And why do they do that? Well, because they like to see step by step. Well, Mr. X or Ms. Y in sales organization XYZ, when you become that kind of an information access point through personalized video, they're going to go, oh, I saw somebody with a product like that. They're going to search your name, whichever way you sent them a personalized video message, and you're going to be their quote unquote YouTube of products that they may want to use. Does it take time? Sure. But you're providing value, provide value. I think I'm going to make a shirt that says provide value, hashtag provide value.
Or pound the narrative.
Or pound the narrative. That's my next favorite one too.
I love that.
I'll put that on the
I want to
back.
place an early pre-order on that one.
All right. Provide value on the front, pound the narrative on the back. But if once you become the source for someone and you're providing value to them, you completely change from, then we can go into a whole different marketing where we call demand gen and different things of that nature. But that's what you're doing. And if you can get to that point, which you can very easily, all of a sudden your whole world of the sales process changes dramatically.
Yeah, I think my answer is, and this is like yours, pretty grandiose, but I believe it's truthful. We're changing the way that business people communicate to distracted, disengaged people. Period.
Very well said. Yep.
That's what we're doing. And
Yep.
I think that when you and I created Medical Sales RX, then Virtual Sales RX, then Physician Video RX, and we've got some other launches that we have planned, what we're really doing is helping people understand how people prefer to receive ideas, how they make decisions in a distracted, over communicated society in such a way that the propensity to grow one's business in such a different and scalable way changes everything. And Eric, as recent as this morning, you and I were texting back and forth of how we're reaching out to, our clients, and we're using personalized video, and they're now responding back to us in personalized videos, not because we need to see one another's faces, but rather because in this modern way of communicating, we're able to take complex ideas that demand explanation, and in 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes or less, we are teaching the world how to digitize their ideas in a way that the brain says, yes, this is the way that I think of this, remember this, and it's a memory making device.
I couldn't have said it any better. Exactly spot on. And once we have organizations that start, and there are already organizations out there who understand what Matthew and I just talked about, the light goes on and they go, all right, let's implement this, and let's implement this now.
Well, Eric, thanks for your time today. I appreciate all your insights.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew. And I look forward to anybody who does want to reach out. Please, you guys know how to get in touch with us, whether it be LinkedIn or go through virtualsalesrx.com.
Yeah, we'll create a calendar link. We're already working with some of the biggest med tech companies in the world. We plan on making this available outside of that industry, and we'll just have a 15-minute discovery call. Typically, if you decide to schedule that 15 minutes, typically here's where you're at. You are wanting to get more precise and get more response from your communications. You feel that somewhere along the line, the traditional marketing creates product marketing information, passes it down to sales reps in the form of print material or webinars or whatever, that it's just not scaling. And you believe that in your market, there needs to be a hyper-personalized approach, yet using a medium which you can actually reach more people at scale than any other means of communication that your sales team or your marketing team are using. And then finally, you have a sales team that is saying, yep, we think marketing is here to get us leads, and you're frustrated as a marketer at that because the problem is not generating leads. The problem is qualified leads. And you're a marketer that's saying, I want to be a part of quantifying the leads that we send, like you said it earlier, Eric, through demand generation. If that describes you, it may be a fit for us to have a 15-minute chat. So thanks again, Eric.
Thank you, Matthew.